You know,
I can see you.
You probably should have sent some of those 3 of those T-shirts already here to America, because it takes like 2.5 weeks to get anything from you. I just thought I'd let you know.
No, dear. Let's get it right. It took 3 days to arrive. It took you 2 weeks and 2 days to get the package open because I put that much gaffer tape on it.
Okay. We'll go with that story.
Next time I've got a whole roll of it. I'm gonna everybody that wins is gonna take like a month to get into the bloody package.
Dude, by the time it got to me, it had already, because it had been handled enough, it had already a tiny little hole in the that whatever it was, that gray, cardboard kind of whatever stuff it was. So it was easy to just kind of take that and just,
Yeah. To be honest, it was a bit of a rush job to try and get it to you as soon as possible. So I apologise for the quality of the packaging. Next time, with the ones that will be sent out will be sent out in proper packaging, and they won't be difficult to get into. They'll be proper.
It was fine because it was in plastic bags inside and everything, so it was all fine.
That's right.
Nothing wrong with it. So.
Yeah. I was aware of the fact that if we didn't want them getting wet and then stuff. Right. So anyway, how's it going? What you been up to lately?
Working.
Working, yeah.
And arguing with you about Captain Crunch. So what's the story with the ribbon, my friend?
No, it's the in a couple of weeks' time. It's the gala. Yeah, it's the gala Brawl Lads gathering.
The gala of what? Sorry, that broke up.
Yeah, the gala Brawl Lads gathering.
Ah. And what's
Do you know what that is?
What's that all about?
Exactly. You haven't got a clue, have you? That's the trouble.
It was my immediate question. You were already trying to assert your intellectual dominance while I was trying to ask you what was it. So, I mean, we know how your mind works, Paul. Go ahead.
No, it's just that for people in Gala Shields, Gala Shields is the centre of the universe. And honestly, there are people in Gala Shields that have never even been up to Edinburgh. For less than 30 miles away. Their whole universe is around that small place, and they have no concept of what goes on elsewhere. And so what I was saying to you in that one of those court proceedings was the fact that I quite understand how it is that I'll put it this way: I can quite understand how you think that there are characteristics about Captain Crunch which are British. But my question to you would be:
created with a British or European captain in mind. That is my whole point.
But do those characteristics necessarily make him British? I'll put it another way.
Hey, I guess that's why we're taking it to the court of public opinion to find out.
Yes, yeah, and apparently, I hope Mark doesn't mind me saying this, but apparently the vote is very close. So fair play to you, dude. You've done a good job, because I thought you had no chance whatsoever.
Hey, dude, I'll explain it the same way I did in the post I made on Facebook.
Yeah.
I'll explain it the same way.
Yeah.
This all started out as a bit of fun with me and Paul, where he picked his top 25 Americans, which were making fun of us. To make it clear for you that he was making fun of us, people, Wiegert and Fassbender were in the top 25. That should tell you something. So then when I did my top 25 Brits, I put Captain Crunch as number 2, because I always felt he just looked British. It was not based on any research at that point. It was just like a gut feeling about like the way he looked. Then Paul got all huffy about it. And when he got all huffy about it and started doing a video to prove how Captain Crunch wasn't a British, so then that's when it got really entertaining. So that's when I started actually looking into it and started finding out that his name was Horatio, like Horatio Nelson, the famous British commander, naval commander. His middle name is Magellan, who we all know was the first captain to circumnavigate the world.
Magellan,
who actually came from Spain or something like that, or eventually got help from the kings of Spain to get a ship to go around the world in or whatever. But so anyway, clearly European. So as I'm looking into it, I'm like, Dude, this is kind of all falling together here. This is all just like falling right into place on this. And then his crew, 3 of his crew are clearly named with not American names, with names that are other than American names. So in my mind, it's a mainly European crew, to say the least, and I would say 2 of them are Brits. So, and then it went on, and then the birth certificate surfaced, and it was.
I was gonna. You beat me to that, show. I was gonna say, you mentioned Mark Wiegert and Tom Fassbender, but surely one of the greatest investigators of all time is Pam Sturm, and that is undoubtedly who you hired to find that birth certificate, because she must have found it within about 25 seconds of going on the internet.
Oh, that's funny. That's hilarious. Maybe I did.
Oh dear. And what I was gonna we've covered the birth certificate, or more or less, but we might come back to that later. I believe you've learnt a new Scottish word, havering.
Yes. I'll play the clip. I'll play the clip. The definition for everybody right here.
Eunice, what does to haver mean?
To talk a lot of nonsense.
To talk a load of shit?
Yeah.
Talk a load of crap?
Yeah, like you do
No,
constantly.
you mean not me? No, Eric Ozee, like what Eric Ozee says.
No, you.
No, not me.
Just to remind everybody, they need to listen to the Proclaimers, 500 miles. And it's along the lines of, and if I get drunk, and I start to haver, then I'm only havering to you. that's the bit you have to remember.
Right.
We did get quite a serious and slightly highbrow conversation and discussion over the fact that I was very interested in the third survey. I think it was question number 2. Is it better that one innocent person goes free rather than 10 locked up? And you rather interestingly said that you were one of the 40%. And we started to get into a debate over the ratio, because I said, well, if you're happy with 1, are you happy with 2? Are you happy with 3? And in fairness, I did give you the comeback, and I said, well, is it better 1 person walk free than 20 guilty people? Am I saying it right? Am I saying it right?
Sure.
Yeah.
What you're saying is it's really more of a maxim, or something. It's not like something based in reality. There was never actually any research done to say that for every 1 innocent person in prison, 10 people are going free. That has never really happened. It's always just been kind of a talking point. Problem I have with it is when you think about it, is just the staggering effect of the numbers. If we imagine, let me try to put this another way. If we don't take a look at our criminal justice system and look at what things like DNA are teaching us, what the social science of wrongful convictions and the stats that are coming in on the known wrongful convictions, and all the things that all of this stuff is teaching us, and if we're not paying attention to it and applying it, we are taking the risk and taking the danger of becoming one of those countries where for 1 innocent person there's 10, 20, 30. That number's going to get worse if we don't pay attention. So the idea is that the whole rate, I've come to believe myself that the whole idea for that ratio is to shoot to make it better, to get it where you're focusing on the issues of criminal justice, so that you're getting it right, and so that you're bringing that 10 down to 8, and maybe as you continue to improve and clean up the criminal justice system, that number comes down to 6 and 4. To where you're actually moving in the right direction, where you're, for every innocent person that that you're accidentally putting in prison, you're only letting 4 criminals get away. Or in other words, or if you're just, because you're actually getting it right, you're putting less innocent people in prison, that number of criminals per innocent person in jail becomes less. You know, it's all about math, and I know it confuses a lot of people, and I'm sitting here kind of explaining it in words, and I'm sure a lot of people out there are just sitting there going, yeah, okay, let's move on. So it's a math thing, basically, with ratios and stuff, where if we start getting it right, that ratio improves. We just got to pay attention to what we're being taught by, you know, DNA and social science and the stats that are coming out of the wrongful conviction, you know.
Yeah, just a couple of observations there. I think that in many ways that question was probably the most contentious of all, because that's the narrowest that there's been two sides to that.
Yeah.
Am I right in saying that? You know,
right.
The fact that there was 40%, you know.
It's safe to say, right, that a lot of people don't like the idea of dangerous criminals being left out on the street, right? That's a valid concern.
I don't think it's a lot of people. I think everybody don't want you know, violent criminals walking
right.
You know, I don't think there's any dubiety.
So that
there.
puts this all in perspective, so we can understand why this was so, you know, closely split.
Yeah, yeah. But my point was that, you know, if you've got supposedly, you know, the figures suggest that there could be as many as 100,000 wrongful convictions in the US at the moment. It means there's 100,000.
That would mean there's a million
guilty people.
That would mean there's a million criminals that should be in prison that are walking about.
If that ratio was applied, yes,
right,
yeah. But
so we should strive for better.
Well, yes, absolutely. And as I said to you, you know, if you've got, you know, do you say, is it better that 2 people, you know, as opposed to the 10 or 3 or 4, and then you can go the other way, you can say for 1 for every 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever, you know. One of the things that has always bugged me about this case is the fact that, you know, it is so easy to corrupt evidence, particularly when it comes to DNA. You know, we have seen surely in this case exactly how the state used against Steve exactly what got him free the first time. They've used it against him this second time to, you know, and it was so easy to plant, wasn't it? You know, so I'm for me, this DNA stuff, it's a big white elephant. If we were basing it more on fingerprints, you know, I mean, even blood can be planted, as we saw. You know, I mean, this idea that those squiggles near the ignition key were anything other than squiggles put there by somebody.
All
of
Stephen's blood in the RAV4 just looks just hokey and
it's
just wacky. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So my next point would be that, and I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but let me present it to you. That to me it seems like there's 3 levels of wrongful conviction. There's wrongful conviction simply by honest mistake, honest, genuine people trying to get it right, and you get a wrongful conviction.
Right, didn't have any reason or didn't see any reason to think they got it wrong. Sure, absolute honest mistakes. Sure, they happen.
And then you've got your likes of your Kim Worthy, who got it wrong but didn't want to admit that she'd got it wrong, because it would make her look bad.
Exactly.
Vanity,
but for me, and pride and ego.
Yeah, but for me, what stands out about Steve and Brendan's case is that this was wrongful conviction for one simple reason, and that was to protect the state. Therefore, everything was wrong about it. The investigation was wrong. The prosecution of it was completely wrong and unethical. You know, we've got conflict of interest. You've got a judge who, you know, I mean, even our Judge Wilfox, you know, I mean, he is totally corrupt, obviously, you know, because he's. I mean, how can we end up with such a close vote? And I mean, I've put stuff to him today that he's come back and says, I'm not really that bothered about it. But anyway, getting back to the serious
because
stuff.
The video was the courtroom, Paul. You got to imagine Twitter is like press conferences, which were allowed in the Avery trial. So
well, you know. but yeah, getting back to the wrongful conviction. This wasn't just the investigators getting it wrong. This wasn't just the Ken Kratz and Sweaty and Robot Voice and Craterface getting it wrong to protect themselves. It was them deliberately prosecuting, convicting 2 people and it was all to do with protecting the state of Wisconsin. And you know, and people have to realize, and I'm going to keep going on. It was you that first raised this. You know, that when the gangs, the mobs in Chicago suddenly realized, you know, that there's an easier way of protecting ourselves. Get involved in local government. What did they do? They got out of Illinois, and they just headed north up to Wisconsin. Mm-hmm. And to me, that's that. You know, this case is well, both cases is just so probably not unique. You know, probably there are other cases that have been like this.
With
you know,
similar things or similar threads.
You know, but why is it that people like myself in Scotland and Mark in Australia, and you know, we know of a lot of other people in Australia, in Europe in general. You know, we know of people throughout the world that have shown an interest in this because of obviously making a murderer highlighted this case. You know, so did they hit on this one unique case? That there's probably others, aren't there?
Oh, certainly. There's going to be other cases with similarities and common threads.
But so are you concurring with me that there's these like 3 levels of wrongful conviction?
Sure. Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying every single prosecutor that ever got it wrong was doing it willfully and on purpose and all that. I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. Look, most of the time I'm supportive of, you know, the prosecution, the state, the law enforcement. Most of the time I am. But once I start seeing wonkiness where I can't trust my, you know, the state or the prosecution or the officers to follow the law themselves, then the law loses all meaning. And that's what pisses me off. That's the one thing that really pisses me off about making a murder. And it's why I don't have any sympathy when you hear the guilters whining about, oh, but it's hard job and sometimes it's not all perfect and blah 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 blah. Yeah, but when you see obvious crap that shouldn't be freaking happening, it tells you that there's something deeper. And I don't see what the cause of that something deeper is yet. And until I do, this whole thing's not washing. It's not going to wash. It's a complete farce.
No. I mean, yeah, absolutely. If you've got people who are trying to defend the indefensible, then what they're doing is they're trying to say that the end justifies the means. And this is what I've been on about for ages, that clearly there are people in Wisconsin and Manitowoc County in particular that have a deep hatred, dislike of Stephen Avery and that family, you know. And unfortunately, because of what we have discovered through Zellner's investigations of what was on that computer, it's sort of brought the case right back to the Avery salvage yard. And you know, why did the investigators choose to not to sort of highlight this in their investigation? You know, why has Tom Fassbender kept hold of this information himself for 12 years? And as you pointed out to me, I'm sure you did, that, you know, Ken Kratz put a little slip of paper in with a load of others to say that, oh, there's a DVD or there's a something about this computer that, you know, that they were never ever going to find. You know, it was buried in a pile of
It was in the
stuff,
biggest
you know?
batch of discovery that was sent over to the defense, which means it was probably a mountain of boxes. And inside that big mountain of boxes, there was one little flyer in there. And who knows how much other text was on the page that didn't relate to the CD, right? Who knows how much it was buried in other text. But one page in there alluded to the existence of a CD and notes about the Dassey computer. Ridiculous.
I mean, the thing is, if we're led to believe that it wasn't just Bobby that looked at images on the computer, if it was others, and I must admit, I've always had trouble with this whole business of where did Brendan get this idea that, you know, all this stuff that, well, I know exactly where he got the story from. He was regurgitating what he'd been fed by Mark and Tom. But this whole business, when he's got up on the stand and talked about, you know, he read the book Kiss the Girls, and I've always had a problem with that, you know. But it just beggars belief that these investigators chose to ignore, you know, all these other suspects. So I think this is what Kathleen Zellner is trying to get at now, is to say, you know, that you know, from a Denny point of view, all, you know,
when you ignore any other suspect except for the guy you want to nail, it's hard to meet Denny. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's just like, duh, logic. I mean, especially like the way Jerry's bringing up the fact that the voicemails were never looked into. You know?
Yeah.
And that's coming up. And what kind of defense were they running again? Oh, yes, it was a planting and framing defense. Yeah, okay, that should matter. The jury should know that the prosecution in the state and Calumet failed utterly to investigate what the hell was going on with Teresa's voicemails at a very critical time in terms of this investigation. Are you kidding me? How is that not relevant?
but of course the big problem there was the fact that because Steve had settled the civil suit, that accepted that basically he got 400,000, which he might as well have just pissed against the wall, because it did him no good whatsoever. Right? But the bottom line is that, you know, he you know, by accepting that 400,000, it accepted the fact that Manitowoc were not responsible for the wrongful conviction. And this is the big problem, you know. People have criticised me and said, you know, why am I on a witch hunt of Dean and Jerry? I'm not. I'm just pointing out the fact that, you know, their hands are tied. But yes, maybe they could have done things slightly differently that could have, you know, alerted everybody to the situation. But at the end of the day, they came in once Steve had settled. And there was no comeback on Manitowoc County about his 85 wrongful conviction. So their hands were tied in terms of how they could defend him.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But the point is they were actually running the right type of defense to bring those sort of things up. And Judge Willis was sitting there talking about he couldn't see the relevance. It's just idiocy. If you can't see the relevance of somebody messing with Teresa's voicemails the day after she supposedly has been killed, then you're like either corrupt or brain dead. There's really only two things there, really.
Yeah. As I say, I don't want to seem as if I'm.
And I'm talking about Judge Willis being corrupt or brain dead by not seeing the relevance. But anyway, not Dean and Jerry.
No,
Dean and Jerry, I think, had a hard job. Some of it, I think, is the fact that they had a very difficult job, a lot of crap to go through. They're only two guys, and I'm sure they had a few people helping them, but this is a lot. Look at how long it's taken a whole community of people over 2.5 years to really get to grips with this case and get to grips with all the little, you know, minutia in it. I mean, and they only had a few months. So, I mean, they I think, well, not more than a few months, but like I said, not nearly the time that the whole MAM community has had. And, you know, so I think they had a difficult job. I do think that it was a mistake for Jerry not to have that cabinet brought in and an experiment done. I don't know if there's some kind of rules there like there was in the OJ case, where they had to bait Christopher Darden into making a motion to have OJ try on the gloves. I don't know if it's a similar thing where they had, if Kratz or Fallon or somebody had to initiate, you know, or ask for the experiment to be done. I'm wondering if there's a rule like that, and, you know, perhaps Miss Struncy or any of the other lawyers in the family group there might maybe possibly be able to shed some light on that. We'd be interested to hear it.
Yeah, as I say, I don't want to seem as if I'm having to go at Dean and Jerry, you know, just as a sort of witch hunt. But what I would say is that I quite understand the fact that they're part of a legal system in Wisconsin, and at the end of the day, you know, they're only human beings. They're making a living. You know, they're not going to criticize their own legal system too much. Why would they? You know, because within Manitowoc, within neighbouring counties, and Wisconsin in general, you know, they can only play it on one level.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult to start saying, you know, well, you know, he was framed, and why was he framed, and who was he framed by? Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know, you can't, as I've said before, you can't start pointing the finger too far up the food chain.
Yeah. Right. Well, it's right. It can create problems for you if you do. So it's better to make sure you have all your ducks in a row, and all your proof, you know, before you start throwing around those kinds of accusations, of course.
Anyway, couple of things recently in the news that I just wanted to run through you. Michael Griesbach going to retire. He's going to become a defense attorney.
I think Michael Griesbach.
Where have I heard that one before?
Yeah, Kratz did the same thing, right? They all think that by becoming a defense attorney, that it somehow absolves them of their sins or something. I don't know why. But, no, here's the thing about Griesbach. Here's my honest opinion about Griesbach. Michael Griesbach said to a bunch of college students back right after MaM came out, he said it to a bunch of college students, if there is any proof of planting in the Avery case, I will quit my job. He said that. I can pull up the video. In fact, I think I have the clip in one of my older videos. One of my first 50 videos, I think I have that clip in there. Anyways, or one of
that's going back a few years.
It's a while back.
Going back a long time.
So I definitely got that clip in one of my videos because I was just like, oh, yep, there he is, right? And I was making the joke that looks like you're going to be eating ramen noodles pretty soon, Mikey. But anyway. So anyways, that's what he said. So now I'm looking at it going, okay. Maybe he's looking at the whole Fassbender thing, holding on to that CD in his own personal custody for all this time. And he's starting to think that that's not much different than planting. And maybe now that's what's making him decide he wants to get the hell out of Dodge before the spit hits the fan, as it were.
Yeah. I mean, we seem to have quite a few characters sort of jumping ship, don't we? You know, we've got
retired.
Yeah. But by the way, he's entered the raffle for a T-shirt.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So you know, make sure he's one of the.
How do you know that?
One. Just ask Carla. She knows that he's entered.
I think it must be there. I think there's somebody on Twitter that goes by that handle. It must be him.
I've attributed my £1 to him, and you just have to make sure you pick him up.
Is he going to be there in Manitowoc so I can give him his shirt? Oh, never mind. The shirt's in Scotland.
I've actually emailed him and said, you know, I'm going to be in Manitowoc next weekend. You know, pop down and see me. I'm not going to come to your sheriff's office. I'm not going to knock on your door because that would be rude of me, you know, to sort of. But come down, have a word with me, you know, and I'll, you know, just say hello, sort of thing, you know. So we'll wait and see. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
And so yeah, we've got Wiegert wanting to be sheriff of.
He's stepping right up to the
Calumet.
He's stepping right up to the cliff face, man. He's got no fear. I'll give him that. He's fearless.
Yeah, there's he's got a competitor in this one, hasn't he? A guy Hleb or something like that. Elb or Hleb is his surname, and apparently all of his advertising posters have all disappeared.
Yes, that guy. They were. Yes, people were calling in saying, you know, my signs supporting Mr. Whoever have been disappearing, and oh yeah, that's crazy stuff. I mean, why is it? And apparently Uyghurs weren't. So I mean, generally hoodlums don't discriminate. Really?
No.
They just vandalize. They don't say, oh no, you know what, we like that guy. Oh yeah, let's get that guy's. No, it's like anything like that official that they're looking to vandalize, they're gonna pick up both and toss it into the winds.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, I mean, obviously we've got Sheriff Herman retiring, and one of the things that always struck me about the Ricky Hochstetler case was the fact that, 80. How many years is it now? Yeah, it's 19 years later. We still haven't done anything. There's still no outcome for that. Yeah. And you think about the fact that there's somebody in
they
Manitowoc
fumbled too
County.
much in the opening month. I mean, they just didn't do things they should have done. They were busy doing things that were, I think.
Was it not 5 years? They waited
dubious,
before they actually got in touch with the Department to Help, having told Debbie that they would do it straight away. Yeah. And what beggars belief is the fact that when you think about the amount of money and resources they put into the framing Stephen Avery, and how little they've actually done to try and resolve that particular case.
Right.
That
absolutely.
That does annoy me.
They spend a lot of money on that conviction. They don't want to. They don't want anything to happen to it because they've already thrown a buttload of money at it. They don't want to. They don't want it to be upset. They want it to just now be done. So they don't. But yeah, and they certainly don't want to have to pay Stephen. If it comes around that Kathleen Zellner proves it all and gets him out, they are going to be very sad to be facing Stephen in court again to get, well, the number was 36 million last time, I'm sure, and he wouldn't have gotten 36, but I'm sure the number like this time will be something like 96 million, and I'm sure he won't get 96 million, but I'm sure he'll end up with something like 15 or 20. It's going to be horrendous because to do this to a person twice, there's going to be a lot of outrage.
But also, is Mark Riegert not going to have to hand back his award that he got for his investigation?
Oh, I think they should have already had to done that. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, that was the thing. They got him convicted, and they all got awards. But here's the other interesting thing: all these sheriff's departments, when they come to assess the performance of people within their own department, it's other people within the department that do the assessment of them.
Yeah, right. Well,
they write reports on one another.
But since recently, Michael Bell did get some legislation passed in the Wisconsin Senate that now an agency cannot do its own investigation for a police-involved shooting, for an officer-involved shooting. True. Now, and a separate agency has to step in to investigate it.
That's an improvement, but when it comes to assessing,
better, but
assessing the people within your department, if everybody rubbing each other's back, then it's not. At least not very
if it's
good,
a different agency, they're more likely to act on something egregious. I guess it's a little bit better.
You've actually reminded me. Sorry, changing back to the survey. There was another question about judges and should they have a year before they're voted on, and I seem to remember the outcome was that a lot of people were in agreement with this idea. Some were quite happy with the idea that judges simply get voted in. A lot were happy with the idea of this proposal of a year of getting there through merit and then be voted on. And there was also a small proportion, I think, that didn't like either that. And I must admit, I was one of the ones that didn't like either of those proposals. I know that Mark Hodden pointed out that to get a good idea, you have to start with a good idea. And I appreciate the fact that to begin with, that's a good idea. To get people in through merit. But I would say it needs to be much longer than a year. How can you possibly judge somebody on a year? After just a year, you're only just clearing the decks, as it were, clearing the decks. Captain Crunch. You're only just getting to the getting to the stage, to the stage where the new guy is just starting to sort of build his reputation or her reputation. So for me, it would be very much a case of if you've got people who are good at it, put them in. Don't do it on this voting system, because for me the big problem is if you do it by votes, you're running the risk. You always run the risk of conflict of interest, corruption, etc., etc., etc. And whoever's got the big. So, next question.
Yeah.
Do you know what Charlie Berens has been up to?
Well, what's he been up to? I saw some few couple videos from him or something. I think he was giving a commencement speech or something.
Oh, yeah, that was very, very good. I must admit, I did enjoy that because he was talking about the fact that he went down to some place called LA to study media and stuff, and the guy there had got one of these sort of broadcasting voices and said, you'll not do anything if you carry on with this Wisconsin accent. You need to change your accent. You need to get into the this sort of typical, sort of newsreader's voice, and that's what gave him the idea for the Manitowoc Minute. And I remember when he first started the Manitowoc Minute, I sent him a load of stuff from the UK comedians that have made a living out of sort of going with their own sort of regional accent. Mm-hmm. And I think that's absolutely brilliant.
Right.
No, it was. He also did a sort of longer version of one of his training day videos when he went with the military.
I don't know if I watched that one.
Did you know? But here's the thing. Most recently, within this last week, he's been across to London. Aye. There was an Instagram photograph of him in Leicester Square near Nelson's column with his duck jacket on, saying, "Do I blend in?"
Yeah. Leicester Square.
Then, yeah, London.
Was he looking for Richard III? Because they already found him.
Oh, yes, that was in that was in Leicester, not Leicester Square.
Well, whatever. He was in
Leicester
Leicester,
Square
right?
is in London.
But he was in Leicester Square is in London. Oh, I see.
In London, yeah. Nelson. I am not going to mention anything at all about.
Hey, I don't know. Hey, I don't live there, brother. I just kind of know some of the names.
It's like you with your abbreviations. Do you know what the abbreviation for June is? JUN. Yeah. What on earth is the point of that? And why would you abbreviate the letter W to dub? It takes more letters to write dub than it does W.
It's slang.
That was
it's
just
flavor,
to confuse
my
me, wasn't
flavor.
it? That was just to confuse me, the haverer.
It's just flavor.
Anyway.
It's just flavor.
Okay. Getting back to Mr. Berens. I messaged him and said, I'm really pleased that you're in London. I'm actually originally from London myself. And he said he's also going to go to Paris and Brussels. And I thought, Brussels? That is interesting.
Yeah.
Do you know what's at Brussels?
I should know, but
the European Union Parliament.
Ah.
Now, right? It might be purely, vacational that he's going to these, just for the fun of it. But I can't help thinking that there's something there in terms of, why would you go to likes of London and Paris and, I think he's something to do with this running. Gubernatorial. Yeah,
no, I was mimicking him. He was funny when he did that.
Yeah. He's calling it skiing as a dependent.
Yeah.
He's not running as an independent. He's skiing as a dependent.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
he's funny.
And honestly, I'm gonna keep on at him because I do want him eventually. Well, you know what I want him to do, don't you?
Yeah. I want him to hopefully eventually take some interest in the Brendan Dassey case and take a look at it and get familiar with some of the aspects of it.
Well, he's already done that parody.
Mr. Charlie Berens, I would like you to get a little tiny bit aware of Brendan Dassey's situation. Not overnight, but I would like you to eventually do that at some point.
Absolutely. And the fact that he's already done that parody of it.
Yeah.
That certainly shows a concern for it, Mm-hmm. But no, it was interesting. So my final question: Have you been practicing God Save the Queen?
No.
Have you done your video yet?
No.
Why not?
I
Why
just
not?
haven't had a chance, actually. Right now
Okay,
I'm doing
okay.
this.
Yeah.
I slept in today because, like I said, I've been working my ass off. So
Okay.
I slept till about 10.
No, listen. I don't blame you at all. Did you get the words I sent you from the Siamese national anthem? It's the same song,
I do remember
but different
it,
words.
Yeah. I remember seeing it.
Goes,
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes, oh, oh, Watana Siam. Oh, Watana Siam.
Right.
Anna Siam. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that because of your latest ploy, which was
Sam
to
I am green eggs and ham. I do not like green eggs and ham. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
that Dr. Seuss, yes. I read that one as well as a kid, slightly before you did.
Yeah, but Sam I am green eggs
Yeah,
and ham.
yeah.
Anyway.
But you know, I was getting on to Judge Wilfox because what you did yesterday was really, it was I'm going to be honest with you, it was contempt of court.
Oh, really? You don't think your jib jabs are out of line? You don't think your jib jabs are beyond the scope?
But whoa.
Taking your little pot shots at your opponent?
Dude, I thought you liked them.
I'm just saying. If we're talking about a strict court, atmosphere, then we have to look at your jib jabs in the same light as whatever it is you're complaining about I did.
Yeah, but hold on a second. You got this stuff from Angry Grandma, and it was to do with the fact that the salutes, apparently the naval salute is like that,
Yeah.
and
The
apparently
pictures
the
show-
sort
the
of
pictures show exactly.
American, sometimes the American it's more like that. But in Wikipedia it says quite clearly that the U.S. military, all of the U.S. military, base their salute on the Royal Navy. And the idea is that you keep your palm down. Whether you angle it or not is irrelevant. You keep your palm down because if you've got tar and muck on your hand, you don't want to be showing that.
You're showing them the smallest possible face of your hand. Yes, it makes sense.
Right?
Yes.
So
Because your Queen Victoria was a prissy little whatever, and because some guy saluted her and had a dirty hand, she changed the way they salute. That's
I thought you liked Queen Victoria because her husband was
right.
Prince Albert.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
There you go. What was it you asked me about? Have you got a Prince Albert or something?
Yeah, I know why you brought it up. You didn't even know what it was, though. You didn't even know what it was,
You've gone
though.
very shy now. You've gone very,
You
very
didn't even
shy
know what
now.
it was, though, dude. Hey, I'm not shy. Listen to me. Listen to me. You didn't even know what it was.
Apparently.
Oh, unless you were just feigning ignorance, which I don't really think you do. I think you're just kind of anyway.
Yeah, do you know what it is? It's because I've lived here now for 34 years, and the one thing that you have to bear in mind is that America is a very young country. Scotland has been here for thousands and thousands of years, and they have perfected the art of the wind-up.
Yeah. Right.
And I must admit, I did laugh because I've probably counted up the number of different nicknames that I've called you over the past, and it must be about 30.
Oh, whatever it is, yeah.
And I am
new one
really,
every day, so.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to people coming up to you in Manitoba and saying, what's with this nickname? What's with that nickname? You having to explain. But the biggest problem is you're going to have to explain what the T-shirt says.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
Talk about the control question.
Yeah. What is the control question
for me suddenly?
What
haven't I
is the
droned
control
on
question?
about it enough? Don't you think I know what I'm talking about when it comes to the control question?
I know you know what it's about, but I'm just wondering if everybody else knows what it's about.
Well, that's the point of the shirt. so that they ask somebody that knows, right? And then that person explains it to them. That's the point of the shirt.
Yeah.
Right?
But admit to everybody. Now you have to admit you were worried that the controlled question T-shirt was actually going to feature Captain Crunch.
Yeah. I thought you guys were.
You were petrified that Friday when I told you I was getting them, and then I said, "Well, it's kind of I might get there in time. It might be sort of Sunday or Monday," and you were like, "Oh well, I hope you get there in time." And then I said, "Yeah, but hold on a second, I might need to run them past Mark first, and he's in Australia." And then you got back to me, "No, he's in Europe. He's in Europe."
And it's because I was really hoping you guys came up with something case related, and it didn't have Captain Crunch on it, because I really wanted it to be something like that. So that's why I was curious and eager to find out. But I was.
Well, okay. Be honest now. Did you ever suspect that we were asking you about the control question?
You guys, I would notice that you guys would ask me about it. Yeah, well, because I was saying in my videos, I was telling people in my videos. I know. I've gone on and on about it. I won't talk about it today. I'll just move on to this aspect. The reason why I was doing is that because I was aware that I had talked about it in several videos, that it might be something that's people are getting sick of hearing about at the moment because it had been talked about so much. That was me being aware that I talk about it a lot. So,
Hey Donnie, shut the. I'm trying to tell you something serious about it. Yeah.
Okay, buddy.
That control question, right?
Yeah.
Is really, really important. And the fact is that the state, in their last presentation to SCOTUS, didn't even mention it. Why did they not mention it? Because they've suddenly realised what an arse they've made of themselves. True.
I sure hope that's the case. But
yeah,
it certainly would seem so. Because why is it not there? You know, the state, Fassbender, Hamilton, and the majority, they've all been putting that thing in there like it was gold, and then suddenly you go to SCOTUS and poof, no mention of it. Oh, that's interesting.
Exactly. Yeah.
But SCOTUS is going to be able to look at the en banc decision. They're going to be able to read that en banc decision and go, "What the hell is going on right here, guys?"
Yeah.
You know?
And the best thing that they did was the state really shot themselves in the foot by saying that this case is not a good vehicle for looking at, special care and wrongful conviction of juveniles. Well, if they're saying this is not a good case, then SCOTUS is going to say, well, why?
Right.
So they're going to look at it. They're going to say, why? What's so wrong about this case? Why are you saying it's not a good vehicle with no backup?
Yeah,
whatsoever?
The reason why they're going to say it's not a good vehicle is that because it's a habeas case. But the funny thing is, and this is what Tracy Strunsey points out, is that they include that bit about, now it may be possible that there were inappropriate tactics used in the confession or whatever, and that may need to be addressed by the courts or whatever, but then it says, but this case isn't a good vehicle for that, and blah 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 blah. I disagree. I believe moving forward, juveniles need just as much protection and concern at habeas level as they do at trial level. So I think not only does trial level evaluating of juvenile confessions need to be addressed, but also the evaluating of juvenile confessions on habeas review needs to be addressed. So I believe that Brendan is just one aspect of juvenile interrogations that needs to be addressed, as in habeas and as in direct to the trial courts, so that they go directly to the trial courts, so that the trial courts understand this is what we expect now. If you're going to perform the totality of circumstances on somebody who is under 18 years old, then you need to show us what you were considering. You need to talk about the factors that you were looking at and why you ultimately went the way you did. I believe that's got to be there. I'm not saying it has to be 500 pages. I'm not saying it has to be 20 pages or whatever. I'm just saying there needs to be a paragraph or two, at least, where they talk about what they were weighing and how they went about the totality of circumstances and gave special care to the juvenile. I'm not saying they have to do it with adults, but when it comes to juveniles, we have to use the special care that the Supreme Court has mandated many times, not just once, but special care, and which Brendan never got from anybody anywhere, other than Duffin,
yes,
and Rovner,
Woods and Rovner, yeah.
So, I mean, otherwise he has gotten no special care anywhere in the situation that he has faced. So,
yeah, talking about Brendan, I'm not really much of a t-shirt wearer, so I'm going to save one of the extra larges to give to him. I wish I could have sent one to Portage, but apparently they have to go with their regular sort of approved by, the institution in years, but I'm going to save. I'm not going to wear the one I'm going to keep for myself. It's going to go to Brendan eventually, and hopefully you can explain to him about the control question, and just really keep going as you have been doing, pal, because I think you're absolutely amazing. I know we have a lot of banter and we have a lot of fun, but I think it's all done in well, as I said in my video. It's almost as if because we had the experience of guilters getting on at us, we can now, sort of have banter with one another. That it's been absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it. I always wake up and I think, what is the dude come up with now?
Hey, who knows?
Yeah,
you never know.
So
something new every day usually.
Yeah. So hopefully, I would just like to mention that we would still could do with as many people sending money into Carla's PayPal account, and do it. I think you have to do it as family and friends. Otherwise, there's quite a large service charge. So I just wanted to make that thing clear. That. Okay. Send it via family and friends. Otherwise, I think PayPal charge quite a bit for their service.
Okay.
Right. And hopefully we'll have a I hope that you get the chance, to be honest, to go to the Avery Salvage Yard.
Yeah.
And get some footage there. Am I right in saying that you're thinking of doing some sort of live videos from Manitowoc?
I'm going to be doing some live videos from the rally. I don't think I'm going to be doing any live videos from the yard. If we get, I believe we're going to be able to go to the yard. I believe Carla already said that we could do that. I'm perfectly fine if we don't. Like, I'm not trying to be pushy or anything, but if I do get there, I want to do a video of kind of from the car crusher to where the RAV4 was, and then I want to do a video basically kind of from where Steven's trailer is to where the bone pit was, and these have a reason on a future video that I want to do. So those I'm not going to be doing live. Those are going to be me collecting some footage that I want to punctuate a point that I want to make in a future video.
Good.
And then other things, I'm just gonna, I depending on how much access we get to the salvage yard, I may try to get a few other things that occur to me while I'm there. If we, like, as I said, if we get to go in, I'm not expecting, it's not a foregone conclusion. I'm perfectly respectful of the fact that the Averys, have, I'm perfectly respectful of their privacy. So. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's the same with like you wouldn't just march up to the sheriff's office and say, can I have a quick chat with Robert Herman? It's there's certain ways of conducting oneself. I think it's going to be interesting. If you ever get a chance to speak with some of the local people.
Yeah.
And what their perception is, particularly if you get the chance to speak to them,
Well, I hope it doesn't go like it
sort
did
of-
with Daniel Luke, where people start coming out and threatening to throw blows. Did you ever
No.
see Daniel Luke's video?
Yes, I have.
Drinking at a bar in Wisconsin, and they were just happened to be they were outside smoking cigarettes, and they started talking a little bit about the Avery craze with the couple people that were out there smoking too. And eventually, like a bartender or somebody, a bouncer from inside the bar came out and told them they had to stop talking about what they were talking about and all this stuff, and it escalated, and it was pretty crazy.
Did I see a video where he actually managed to track down Ken Kratz in his?
Yes, he did that as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's there were ways and means of doing that. To be honest, as I've always said all along, and we had a bit of a laugh about this. If I had the chance all over again to contact Robert Herman, I would definitely try and sort of present myself as being somebody that erred on the side of Manitowoc County Sheriff's Department, but I just had certain, questions and doubts, and I would have presented it from a completely different perspective, rather than sort of just having a go at him,
Yeah.
Because whereas I can have a go at you and you come back for more, he decided he'd had enough, and that was it. So what we on tonight then, dude? Dr. Pepper?
What's that?
What we on tonight? Dr. Pepper?
That's what I'm drinking right now. Yeah, I'm about to. As soon as I'm done recording this with you, I'm about to run off and Stella. Well, I'm thinking about sending your wife a 6-pack of those and maybe some flowers for that audio clip.
Well, yes, yeah.
I'm talking about the clip you all heard earlier about Havering. That's what I'm talking about.
What you need to do is seriously, we need to get loads and loads of people entering the raffle for the T-shirts, and the ones that are unfortunately not successful, they will get a discount from you for your ones that you're going to do with your, I stand with Brendan Dassey, or Brendan Dassey, or some connection, as you say, because for us in the sort of like our small circle, we know exactly what that refers to, but some people would have less of an awareness of what's going on.
I absolutely want to do that.
Yeah,
absolutely want to do that for everybody that donates and enters the raffle. I will say this right now. At the moment, there is a question as to whether I will be making them or whether Barb is going to go ahead and have them made. So just so everybody understands. So if in fact Barb has them made, I will need to have a discussion with Barb about that. If worse comes to worse, I will cover it. So that she will give you guys your discount. Whatever ends up happening, but I'm determined that if you entered into the raffle, that money will count towards your T-shirt, and depending on which one of us ends up making the T-shirt, if it's me or Barb. So I will get back to you guys soon as to which one of us will be making the shirts. But it's been talked about that while I'm there in Manitowoc, I'm going to go over to the T-shirt company and tell them what I want to add, and then whatever, and then just let the T-shirt company and Barb work together on it and be done.
Good. Bear in mind, of course, that Mark Hodinett is still due you a mug.
Oh, he's still
because it was his idea. It was his idea from the outset. I think that judge has completely stitched the pair of us up.
Yeah, could you guys give me like a?
I would trust that Aussie because he's into bloody ball tampering, big time. with his big green baggy on.
Can you guys get me like a big thermal mug so I can keep my Dr. Pepper cold? That says "Ask me about the control question" on it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but no. To sort of cut to the chase. What I want to see is I want you to take lots of orders for your T-shirts. Make a whole load of sort of money that would allow you to come and visit Scotland, to come and visit the Scottish borders. And do you know what?
That's the reason why this shirt. That's the reason why the shirts that I'm making, I can't make any money off of them, is because I'm adding Brendan Dassey's name to them so that the message is clearer. And by adding Brendan's name, that's what caused Barb to approach me. So that's why, and it's fine with me. I mean, I'm not in it for the money, so it's fine with me to just let the family have the proceeds anyway. So no skin off my back either way. But to add the Brendan Dassey is what's causing. That's why Barb's going to go ahead and make the money off of these shirts, the ones that get made. And presumably, this raffle is going to Carla in the yard.
Yeah, and also, I don't know what Barb thinks of me. We've got a certain history there. I asked her a question, or she offered to ask a question to which I'm still waiting the answer. But at the end of the day, Brendan is still inside. He's still wrongfully convicted, and anything we can do to help Brendan via Barb, absolutely fine. There's no problem there. But I was just going to say that my garage door hadn't worked for like several years, right? Yeah. And I keep my gear in there, all my band equipment, and it's a real pain in the neck having to stoop under the garage door because it only opens so high. So 2 weeks back, I had the garage door removed and like proper doors put, swing opening doors, and I'm going to convert the garage into a studio,
YouTube studio.
It's going to need all flooring put in and walling and stuff, So I want you to come across to the borders, and I'll keep you employed for a week. Deal? Deal? Shake on it.
I want to come there, Paul. It's just I got to figure out when, dude.
But it'll be a busman's holiday. You can come here and carry on doing what you've been doing. It's not going to cost you anything.
Well, it might offset, sure, but yeah, I still have a job here, and so I can't just run away for a week anytime I want, because otherwise, when I get back, I won't have a job anymore.
Yeah, dude, it's good that you're busy. It's good that you're busy. You've got to make hay while the sun shines. Honestly, I'm older than you. I'm wiser than you. I'm smarter than you. When you've got the opportunity to get the work, you take it. Yeah. ESO.
Right.
You know what that means?
Eat, sleep, and shit overtime.
Yeah. Have you heard that one before?
Yeah. Earlier today.
Good.
From some raving Scotsman.
I don't know any of them. I know most of the people in Garla Shields. Who the hell could you be on about?
It must have been a Havering Scotsman then.
Yeah. Right. Oh, okay, Donnie.
That is funny. Havering, like, it's like the R and the V or the H. Anyway, never mind. Very closely spelled words. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, piss off.
So thanks to Eunice for all of us. The audio clip is brilliant.
Yeah, and go and enjoy the rest of your morning.
Alrighty, buddy. Actually, It's off to work.
Hey, what are you going off to work for? More overtime?
It's cameras. Some people that I'm installing a couple cameras for.
And you're doing this on a Sunday because it's convenient?
Because I was working all day yesterday too. So trying to get as much done as I can before I go to Wisconsin.
Good.
So
listen, I'm glad that you're kept busy. Because you still seem to find plenty of time to bash me over the internet and Twitter and Facebook and messengers. So
yeah, generally anywhere from 2 to 5 hours from when I get home from work till I go to sleep every day.
Yeah,
that's about it. And sometimes during lunch I can get on and say some shit.
You certainly do say some shit.
Oh yeah. Okay, Mr. Haverer.
Oh, okie
We'll see you, buddy.
Yeah, take care. Bye for now.